I'm Hitomi Shimizu. I'm a member of Syzygys, and I built a 43-tone organ, and I've been doing the microtonal pop kind of music for over the 30 years.
Wow. Amazing. That's so awesome. So, when did Syzygys start, and where does the name come from?
Okay, it was 1985, during my last year at the Music University, majoring in music composition. I built a 43-tone organ. And at the graduation concert, I played the organ in public for the first time. Aside from my solo performance, I asked my friend Hiromi Nishida to join me, and that was the beginning.
Wow.
Then I named ourselves Syzygy. It's difficult to pronounce. Named after a short science fiction story. It wasn't a Syzygy by Theodore Sturgeon, an American novelist. The meaning in astronomy, it means a conjunction of planets. In psychology, Carl Jung used the term for the conjunction of two organisms without the loss of identity in communication of conscious and unconscious mind. I hope it makes sense.
I hadn't heard that word until you had chosen it for the band. Yeah. So I guess it's like a combination of things that has to do with consciousness or big ideas then.
Yes, kind of.
So how did you decide to get into microtonality in the first place?
After studying music composing, I found myself trapped in theories and methods that I had learned. It was like composing someone else's music, not mine. I needed to free myself from that. I guess I always had a preference for microtone unconsciously. Yeah, when I heard Harry Partch's music, I liked the sound. My unconscious preference became conscious. And I liked the sound, especially the organ sound. So I wanted it, and so I built it.
Which music of Harry Partch's did you first listen to? Like, is there a particular piece that really inspired you?
Bewitched. Bewitched.
Yes. That is a really good one.
Yeah. And 7 Petals. Seven petals or something.
7 petals fell in Petaluma, that one?
Yeah,
yes.
That one. Yes.
You know, that one reminds me of you because of how microtonal the organ is, where
yes,
the harmonic sevenths are very in tune. And you know, I feel like when some people hear a reed organ timbre play intervals that are really in tune but unfamiliar, they almost like laugh. Like they kind of think it's like a cartoon or like a car horn.
Okay, I see.
That's definitely something that I get from Syzygys a little bit and from Harry Partch just because of that reed organ sound.
Yeah.
So you said you built a reed organ. So how did you get that instrument, and did you have to go to a lot of effort?
Yes. But it was lucky that I happened to find his book, Genesis of Music, on sale at an art book store. After quick reading, I asked my piano tuner to find me an old Yamaha electric reed organ and 4 sets of replacement reeds. I had no internet to consult with other than the book Genesis of Music. Besides, I had no carpentry skill, so it was simply to remove all the reeds and replace them with new reeds, each of them retuned back in. Yeah, it required a lot of preparation and including calculating and making plans and so on. But once started, I was so deeply involved in tuning each of the 61 reeds one by one using a file.
Wow.
It took me 2 whole days in full concentration, no eating, no drinking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was a mysterious philosophical journey, finding and achieving the ratio with my hand and ear. it was an experience of something like touching the origin of music, kind of time travel.
Yeah, kind of like traveling a little bit back in time. To sort of an ancient era where there was just intonation.
Yeah.
How very fitting, since Partch himself would probably describe it that way and would want to be associated with that. So did you when you were tuning those reeds, did you use Harry Partch's tuning chart to tune by ear? Or
and I used some kind of tuner for for help. It's called Yamaha Harmony Director is the name of the educational keyboard.
I see. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. So when you're recording as a band, I've noticed that you're a violin and reed organ duo.
Yes.
So those are kind of like the two microtonal instruments you have. But then I've also noticed a few other instruments, like organ, violin, guitars, and drums. Do you dub those in? Or do you two, the members of Syzygys, play all the instruments we hear in the studio recordings?
When recording, we have some guest musicians. Guitar, bass, cello, Japanese show, and so on. Most of them had to adjust the tuning in order to match my organ.
I see. And then, how about the the percussion parts?
Yeah. Most of the keyboards and the percussion parts are played by MIDI that I programmed. In the earliest days, I used an educational keyboard by Yamaha. I just told you it's called Harmony Director. It was educational keyboard, and it was the only keyboard that I could edit a tuning of each key by tapping in the center value for each key.
So you had to do that one at a time?
Yeah. It has some memory bank, so I can put it in the memories. So
yeah,
but that was the only keyboard that I could do it at the time. And I also used DX72 and the same kind of TX802, both are Yamaha, for the same reason. I could set up my own tuning table. It was very rare at that time. It's amazing. It's so easy now with all the useful softwares available.
I'm continually amazed at what musicians did to get microtones, like sort of before my time, really. Like, you guys had to actually dig into instruments and get really, really deep with everything, or use technology that seems archaic now, and today it's so much easier.
Yeah,
mad respect.
Yeah, if I could do carpentry, I would have built something else, but I couldn't do it. So I just did what I could do at that time.
Right. Yeah. It seems really difficult to have deep mastery over instrument design.
Yes.
I'd say I feel the same way, where I'm just doing the bare minimum of what I can do with DIY instruments to get these kinds of things. So, I've heard some of your songs, and a lot of them sound like they have somewhat tonal chord progressions, and then there are shifts by very small notes. Maybe the Santana Kama, maybe not. I guess it depends on the song. I wanted to ask you how you approach harmony and melody in your work, and how you think microtonality improves the quality of the music you make.
Oh, I like this scale, 43 tone scale, as a melody. This scale has 8 syntonic commas in it. It's 81 80th. 21.5 cent, and this scale has 8 syntonic commas. This interval, nice. I particularly like this interval. It's something very special for me. In our latest album, Otona, we tried out more harmonic approaches than before. As you can hear in the track named Syzygy Moon, the sound gets darker and brighter by transition from dissonance to consonance, gradation from consonance to dissonance. It is not right or wrong, nor good or bad. Every interval can be charming, but minor triad in just intonation sounds especially beautiful. I've been dealing with this 43-tone scale over 30 years, and it still amazes me with new discoveries. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. There's so much about that to talk about, especially, well, you kind of are almost using the syntonic comma as a melodic step, which is really unconventional, I guess, in music theory. I tried to get your latest album on Apple Music, but it said it wasn't available in the United States. But I did look at some of the tracks on YouTube. You know, we've been emailing a little bit, and I saw that you were live streamed on BBC. I guess you guys were on the concert called the Tectonics Rewind Weekend. And you were on day 2. Can you tell me more about that? I missed it, unfortunately, the stream.
But the truth is, it's on until the end of this month. So they decided to keep it there. So you can stream it until the end of this month.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll definitely check that out then, for sure. Well, obviously, the quarantine has ruined a lot of potential gigs and stuff. Mm-hmm. What kinds of performance venues have you visited, and where have you traveled as a band?
Oh, we used to have frequent performances, like monthly, at live venue in Tokyo, only in Tokyo, because we couldn't travel because of the transportation problem. My organ is too heavy and fragile for travel. only recently I set up a digital sampling version of my organ so that we could travel to Italy and Scotland for music festivals.
Were audience members receptive to the microtonality? Do you tell your audience members about it beforehand?
That's a good question. And I never try to explain anything on stage before. Music should not and cannot be explained. That was my basic attitude. Besides, it was before the internet, and almost no one seemed to have interest in microtonality at the time in Japan. At least we called them ourselves a microtonal pop duo because my organ looks and sounds so strange that some information have to be given. So most of the audience had some idea that there's something experimental involved in our music. Of course, some of them showed interest in the microtonal theories, coming up to me with many questions, but there are maybe 1 or 2% of the audience. I think it was okay with me because my goal is not a microtonal music, but just a music using microtones. We played pop music in order to reach a wider audience who simply enjoy music without any musical preconceptions. So only recently I started to give a very short lecture during our stage performance, demonstration of 43-tone scale, that kind of things. The internet and the music software have changed this world radically. Now everyone can try and enjoy microtonality if they like. I feel audience enjoys more than before to hear my introduction to microtonality.
So when you introduce microtonality to the audience, how do you demonstrate that?
Oh, it's like playing the 43-tone scale. Usually the keyboard have 12 notes in 1 octave, but my organ has 43 keys in 1 octave, and they laugh, and then I play the whole scale from 1 to 44 and say, this is 1 octave.
There's an octave. Follow me on that. "43 notes per octave."
And then they laugh, they enjoy it.
Yeah, that's great. That's a really good way to demonstrate just how much is there.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of music would you say are your main influences? Did any other bands, musicians, or composers have an impact on you?
Everything, any kind of so-called world music, classic rock, contemporary. In these years, I am deeply into music of Vietnam. And I play Vietnamese monochord called Dan Bao for solo performances. The other member, Hiromi Nishida, studied Arabic violin in Cairo with Maestro Abdo Daguerre. So she's a specialist in the Makam world. So I like Makam music so much. In this community, Tolga-han?
Cholu?
Yes. I like him so much, and I think he's great.
Yes, he is wonderful. He's really good at blending traditional Makam music with Western music. He's doing that in a modern way.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yes, absolutely fantastic. So you mentioned that you're playing the Vietnamese monochord.
Yes.
What kind of instrument is that?
It's just monochord, so one string instrument using the overtone, and then there's a left side, there's a bend, so I can bend the note to make scales. So it's very simple, but very strange and unique instrument.
And since it's fretless, you can play it in a microtonal way, right?
Yes. That's my goal, but it's very difficult.
Right, I can imagine.
So I had to practice a lot to stay in, microtonal pitch. Left hand has to be very stable, otherwise it's difficult to get the microtonal pitch.
So are there any other instruments that you play? I mean, of course we know that you play the organ for the band and the Vietnamese monochord. Were you originally a piano player?
Yes, yeah, I'm a piano player, and I regret it because I have a lot of instruments that I'm interested in, and I've never become so good at it. So I have a lot of things like dulcimer, the steel guitar, or the Japanese show, and that kind of stuff. But I've never become very good at it.
So have you used any of those in, like, the Syzygys music at all, or is it too hard to get them to retune with the scale?
Yeah, it's very difficult, too difficult, so I gave up. But yeah, I was hoping to make something new out of them, but I never succeeded so far.
It seems like it would be really difficult to get all those to match, and you would have to compromise how the instruments themselves play a little bit, which tends to be the case with microtonality. I mean,
yes.
Especially with the organ you have and having all the chords be really wide. Does the violin player ever play like four hands keyboard with you?
Yeah, it's your good idea, but we never try that. I don't think we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I just wondered because it seems like the instrument would work really well that way, since there's just so many notes to try and play there. I was also wondering if you had thought about subsets at all, like instead of having 43 notes and having all of those available on the organ, taking like a small subset of maybe 12.
29 or something.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. That is a possibility. I thought about it, but there are some problem or technical problem or carpentry problem of my organ structure. So I never succeeded yet. But in the future, I'm thinking about it. Yes.
Yeah, because I assume it would be hard to retune all of the reeds again and figure that out. Is it difficult to replace reeds with other reeds? Like, if you had a subset tuning, could you switch to the full 43-note tuning in, like, 10 minutes?
No. It's really difficult.
Yeah, I thought so. We've established that you use Harry Partch's tuning system, the 43-note scale.
Yes.
How does that affect your compositional decisions, and does it influence which key you choose to start in?
My organ is tuned to 43-tone scale, but based on C instead of Harry Partch's G scale. So it's a bit different. And the organ has 61 keys, and the lowest 5 keys are used as a bass note, C, G, F, D. And so I only have 1 octave plus minus third of range available. The range is even smaller than an ocarina. Besides, considering my limit of my finger can reach, it's very limited. And that's one of the reasons we don't have many pieces. it's difficult to compose.
Is there a reason why you based it on C instead of on G?
Well, I have no reason to be G. I mean, Harry Partch had a reason to be G because of his voice range. But I'm not a male, so C was more useful for me. That's easy to understand for me. That's why C.
you've worked with John Zorn, right?
Yes.
How did you meet him, and how did he become excited about your work?
It's my friend introduced our CD to Makigami Koichi-san, Hikashu. He's on Zadig label. And Makigami-san introduced our CD to John Zorn, and he really liked it, and he contacted me. Yeah, so friend connection.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know this, I think you do, but the composer Ligeti also apparently made positive remarks about your album. Wikipedia says Ligeti was interested in your music and he mentioned your track Fauna Grotesque in a sketch, which is amazing. Love that particular song.
Thank you. I had a friend, her name is Mari Takano. She's a composer and she was studying with Ligeti in Hamburg, I think, in Germany. And in his class, she gave Ligeti my first record, Fauna Grotesque, and once Ligeti listened to it and he get really excited. Then he asked my friend to contact me to ask if he can buy my organ, and he said, "How much is the organ?" That was his. He was really excited. So I replied, "Oh, sorry, I can't sell it to you because this is the only one, and I can't make another one, and I can't send it to Germany, and electricity voltage is different, blah, blah, blah." And he had to give up. But maybe if I gave him or sold him, he might have composed very, very interesting music. That's my regret. But I don't regret because I couldn't do Syzygys if I sold it. So that is a funny story.
Wow, that is an amazing story. I guess you definitely and if you had sold the organ to him, maybe you would also have regretted that too. So it's like either way you go, there's not as much organ to go around as we would all like.
Yeah, but I wonder how much he was about to pay me. That I want.
That'd be a good bit of historical trivia someday when people are studying Ligeti and Syzygys. So you said the album that your friend gave him, was it Fauna Grotesque?
Yes, I think so. The very first, it's not CD but analog disc.
Would you mind telling us about your complete discography as Syzygys, what all of your albums are and what your future plans are? Because I know you've got some new stuff in the works.
So at the moment, complete sound recording and Eyes on Green, which is a live album. Those two albums are released from Zadek label. And the another one is Otona by our own label. That is the latest one. We have 3 releases, but it's only in Japan and it's not available anymore.
Right.
An American film for which we have written scores will be showing soon. It's a pity I can't tell you the detail yet because of the contract, but it should be available worldwide soon. My solo album, playing tonal plexus microtonal keyboard and Vietnamese dambao, it will be on Bandcamp, I think.
Great. Oh, that sounds wonderful. So you have a tonal plexus keyboard.
Yes.
How would you say it compares with playing your microtonal reed organ?
Oh, because a tonal plexus has 6 octaves, so it's compared to my organ that 1 octave and a minor third, it's really, really big possibility exploded. So I like to play this keyboard very wild, from bottom to the highest note, running up with microtonal scales. So it's fun to play. It's very different. It's very, very different from my organ.
Yeah, have you ever seen Dolores Catherino's videos where she plays the tone flexes?
Yeah, it's very difficult, but she does it very well. I can't imagine. My tonal plexus has a lot of color because of it's custom made for me. But her instrument has only 2 colors, and how can she find the right notes? It's amazing. It's amazing, I think.
Yes, absolutely. That she's sort of working within that palette. So, yeah, I can't wait to hear this new album of yours. I'm wondering if it's going to use like microtonal clusters in a similar way to a lot of Syzygy songs, where you play some notes right next to each other.
Yeah, of course, I love it. And yes. It's easy to play, I mean.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of Now and Zen. Be sure to catch Hitomi's new album on Bandcamp, and then also be on the lookout for the scores that Syzygys will be writing.
Yes.
We don't have a lot of details now, but we probably will have details later, and it'll be available worldwide.
Great.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I enjoy this show.
Well, we enjoy having you on the show.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Now and Zen. Our May episodes feature Joe Monzo, Hitomi Shimizu from Syzygys, and a bonus episode with Elaine Walker and Brendan Burns. In June, we'll have an episode featuring Stephen Weigel's Top Secret album, H. Wakabayashi, and a bonus episode from Sevish. As always, I'll remind you that we have a Patreon account, link in the show notes, and that when we hit the 30 patron mark, there will be another keyboard arrangement of an Easily Blackwood etude. Your support is appreciated more than ever during this difficult time. If you have suggestions about how Now and Zen can help musicians, or want to voice your opinion about who should be on the show next, etc., Patreon is the place to make your voice heard. This episode is made possible by the generous support of our patrons, our Zen Harmonic patrons, as well as our Zen Harmonic gods, Matthew Sheeran, Kit Duguay, Hector McGuffin, Joshua Sanchez, Christopher Bailey, Leland O. Weigel, Amy Coleman, Joe Weigel, Tina Harmon Carto, and the Brass Whisper. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.